Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm James Gardner.
I'm Luke Dennis and this is your 1:30 Bulletin. It was a mixed evening for British sides in the Europa League last night. Arsenal suffered a surprise 1-0 defeat away to Bate Borisov. Striker Alexander Lacazette was also sent off for the Gunners. He took to social media to apologise. Chelsea bounced back from their 6-0 humbling at Manchester City last Sunday, beating Malmö FF 2-1 in Sweden. Goals from Ross Barkley and Olivier Giroud gave the visitors a 2-0 lead before Anders Christensen pulled one back late on. Celtic have it all to do next week in Spain after losing 2-0 at home to Valencia. The Hoops need at least 2 goals in the second leg if they are to have any chance of progressing to the last 16.
Former Southampton Academy product Gareth Bale could be banned for up to 12 games in La Liga. The Welshman scored in their 3-1 win over rivals Atletico Madrid last week and could be punished for his gesture, deemed offensive in Spain. A committee will determine if Bale intentionally caused a hostile reaction with the Atletico fans. The league's organising body said in a statement, it was a clear sign of provocation towards the fans.
A new chapter of the Rugby League in the UK has been written with the announcement of a disability division. The Super League becomes the first professional sports brand to share its name with a handicap competition. 9 clubs, including champions Wigan Warriors and Leeds Rhinos, will enter the 12-team competition, which starts in May at Liverpool's Anfield Stadium.
Sticking with England and sticking with rugby, and England will be without Mako Vinopola for the rest of the Six Nations after damaging ankle ligaments. The prop was injured in England's 44-8 win over France last weekend. Ahead of the England-Wales match next week, coach Warren Gatland has been handed a huge blow. Fullback Lee Halfpenny looks set to return but will miss the Scarlets' clash with Benetton this weekend, casting serious doubts over his chances of facing England.
Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton are hoping to make an F1 history after revealing their brand new car ahead of the upcoming season on Thursday afternoon. The Silver Arrows could become the first team in the sport's history to win 6 successive drivers and constructors titles. Hamilton had his first glimpse of the W10 racer with teammate Valtteri Bottas behind the wheel in a shakedown run at Silverstone. The lights will be out this time next month, with practice sessions in Australia commencing for the first Grand Prix of the 2019 race calendar.
Horse racing is back in full swing following the outbreak of the equine horse flu. Tomorrow is the first meeting at Wincanton Races since the news broke out last Wednesday. Our reporter Kieran is there now. Kieran.
I'm down here in a lovely sunny day in Somerset at Paul Nicholls Racing, and I'm here with Scott Sainsbury's, a stable hand. Scott, what exactly do you do around the stables?
So on a day-to-day basis, I'd ride out 3 horses every morning, muck them out, and just tend to their needs really, and just make sure they're well kept after for the horses and the owners obviously paying them. Other than that, just riding out, mucking out, brushing them off, just making sure they're ready for racing.
So if I had come down here a week ago, we might have been talking a whole lot of different things about the outbreak of equine flu. As it stands now, racing's set to resume at the weekend. Now you've got a few horses in the meetings at the weekend. What effect did it exactly have on the stables?
It didn't have too big an effect really. We were still able to ride them out and exercise them. It was just the fact of not being able to race them in the end. None of our horses were found with any flu symptoms, so it was perfect. Just able to ride them out and do everything as normal, so it didn't really affect us too much.
So there's no sort of processes you have to go through specifically when you say you're watching the news and you see an outbreak, you don't get really nervous and have to change a lot of things around here?
Not really, no. You'd literally just borrow more buckets of disinfectant and make sure you're dipping your bridles just to make sure that the horses don't pick up anything off any other horses. So just keeping it a bit tight.
Do you think we've seen the last of the threat now? Something the BBC have reported on today, that the fact that medical professionals and obviously to do with horse racing have said that they're not out of the woods completely yet, and due to the meetings this weekend we could see another little bit of an outbreak.
Yeah, I think there's obviously still a bit of precaution with, obviously there could be a few horses still with the symptoms, so I suppose the main thing will be not racing them and obviously catching any other horses, catching it and spreading it around obviously the UK anymore really.
Just finally, you've got a few horses going in the meetings at the weekend. Any to look out for?
I'd say Clan Zobo runs in the Denman at Ascot on the Saturday, and he'd probably be the pick of the bunch.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. I've been Kieran Wilson. Back to you in the studio at Solent.
We have some breaking local news now. An eyewitness at Solent's Universal Stadium says there were 6 youngsters guilty of vandalising the facility. The hooligans scaled an 8-foot metal fence surrounding the stadium and ran riot, smashing furniture as well as stealing from the club shop. These shocking images, courtesy of Solent FC, show the damage. We'll have more on this story later at 4:30.
Sticking with non-league, playoff chasing Eastleigh faced Braintree at the Silver Lake this weekend. Despite their promising position in the table, manager Ben Strevens is wary of the task ahead for his side.
Well aware that it's going to be a tough game. They beat Salford their last home game. They're fighting for their lives down the wrong end of the table, but yeah, it's going to be a real tough game, probably as tough as we've had in a few weeks. So we trained well again this week, and there's a confidence in the group, but knowing that we've got to turn up and perform on Saturday. If we just turn up, I think we're going to win the game, then we'll lose, no doubt about it. They're fighting for their lives, and they've got some good players.
Hampshire cricket legend Jimmy Adams has returned to the county as an assistant coach. The former captain, who managed more than 20,000 runs in a 16-year career, is back to focus on the Hampshire second 11. He joins first-team manager Adrian Birrell as part of a new coaching setup. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back at 4:30. See you then.
Bye.